All right, it is hot out there, isn't it? And Chris Mulcahy telling us we are breaking a record. That can't be a good thing as we are weather alert this morning, Chris.
Yeah, no, it's not, because I want you to look at these numbers. So these are the active numbers right now as we are speaking. It's 88 degrees actual air temperature.
Okay.
We have a dew point of 76, which, by the way, is tropical and miserable. And it feels like 99.
Oh.
We have a real feel of 99 degrees, and it
Already.
is 9:04, y'all. What's going on?
What is going on?
And this is the reason why we had a heat advisory that wasn't just for yesterday. Most heat advisories you're going to see are usually noon to 8 because that's where you have the hottest part of the day. This one went through the overnight because there was a chance that you weren't going to cool down much. So as I mentioned, we broke a record. The coolest, or excuse me, I haven't said the word cool. I don't know why I said that. The
What's that word?
warmest low. Yeah, what is
Not in our
that?
vocabulary today.
You know about there's always the coldest temperature, the hottest temperature for a day. Well, there's also the warmest low and the coldest high. Well, I'm not going to talk about the C word, but the warmest low ever to happen in Charlotte history for June 25th was back in 1952, 75 degrees. This morning we only dropped down to 79, so we crushed it. There's still a chance we drop down to maybe 77, 78 by just before midnight, so this number could change, but for sure we're going to have the warmest low in Charlotte history for June 25th. And then going forward, looking at these numbers again, likely this is going to be not just the hottest feeling day of the year so far. We're also dealing with right now the muggiest air we've had in 2025. So before today, the highest the dew point, all you have to know about that dew point, I'm a big guy as far as the dew points go because it really measures about how you feel. The highest we've been so far is 73. We're at 76 degrees right now. So that means the muggiest air that we've had so far of the year is right now, this hour. If we were at 74, 75, it's actually gotten muggier. So this is actually a cause of concern that before we even get to noon, we could be feeling like 105 to 108 in some spots. So I want everyone just to stay especially weather alert because that moisture value is actually going up. It's not coming down much. Now, it will start to temper its expectations a little bit, but I think that 100 mark is actually going to be more like 103, and that 103 is more like 105. So again, 105 to 108 is the hottest that we're going to be feeling for at least the day. Now, this is actually a 1-2 threat because we also have a chance for storms a little bit later on in the afternoon as well. So you got to stay weather alert. So I want to show you some of those Futurecast runs that we're seeing. For one, I'm going to slow this one down. This is a different one that likely isn't going to be the scenario, but this one pops up a storm around 5 in Lancaster. It dances around for a few hours, and then it gets out of here. I'm only showing you this because the threats that we have for severe storms is actually going to be a chance for flash flooding as well. Now, we don't have the right situation that we're primed for flooding because we haven't had a lot of recent rain, so that's good for us. But still, if you dump 2 inches of rain in an hour, it's going to lead to some localized flooding because it overwhelms the drains. So the most active time you have to be most weather alert, is between 2 and 8 o'clock. So it's a double alert day, as we've been calling it, because you have the heat threats, but then quickly that could change over to a storm threat. And gusty winds, I think, is going to be the highest threat that we have here, along with those heavier rain showers and also some dangerous lightning. Destiny Richards was talking about lightning all of this morning because of what happened in South Carolina, where 20 people were evaluated and 12 people were brought to the hospital. We have had 4 lightning fatalities so far in 2025, but what I think is most interesting about those stats is that we've actually seen a lot of lightning strikes and people affected the most over this past weekend. That there were several in Florida that just recently got impacted by that. We had the South Carolina event, so just kind of a friendly reminder to, when you hear thunder, roars, get indoors. But sometimes there's something called bolts from the blue. And literally in Florida, this is a really tragic situation, is somebody died when it was under blue sky. That sometimes you don't hear it. You don't get that warning. And this is a very rare case, but it can happen. And this there's only so much you can do at this point. It's just kind of just like a divine intervention. But that was a sad story there. Not saying that's going to happen to you, but today you already know that there's going to be lightning in the area. So that's why, again, this graphic's so important. The biggest window for those storms of frequent lightning is 2 to 8. And actually, the more humid it feels, that gives more energy to the electrons, aka more lightning. So I think it's going to be a pretty frequent light show that happens overall. Okay, so let's get to your Futurecast, the one that I like the most. It's a chance for severe storms. That's what this yellow is representing, and that's for all of our areas, so that's easy. Here's a look at 1 o'clock. I think that you might see a storm or two popping up in the radar at that point, but it's really after 1 to 2 that we start to see isolated storms. Any one of these isolated storms, I think at this hour, potentially could bring some hail. Oftentimes when you have mid to the upper 90s, it melts a lot of the hailstones below the severe criteria. But watch what happens around 3 o'clock. If you're watching, focus where you live. Find your county, and this will kind of give you an example of what you could see. Notice how between 3 and 4, it kind of clears out completely along the I-85 corridor in Mecklenburg County. That's not a guarantee that that's going to be the case in the scenario, but this is how today is going to play out. Some of you are going to have a trace of rain to none at all. Others are going to have up to an inch to an inch and a half of rain in a quick period if a thunderstorm's sitting there for an hour or two. This is the type of deal that these are slow moving. They kind of move on their own. They just kind of bend and twist in their own fruition. It's really impossible to track, so that's why I've given you such a big window of opportunity. I think by 10 o'clock we're pretty much storm free. Just letting you know that's going to be a possibility because it's hot, it's humid, and if we did not have the storm potential today, I think today would actually be hotter than yesterday. Yesterday we did not hit that 100-degree mark, but hey, close enough. It was still 98 and it felt like 105, but today I think it feels just a little bit hotter just because it is more humid. There's a look at how much rain you could see. Again, it's all over the place, some up to an inch, some barely anything at all. This is also one quick weather IQ moment that I want to share with you. About 90% of all the wind damage that we receive actually forms in this fashion. These are called wet microbursts. So a wet microburst, literally all the rain-cooled air within a storm from evaporational cooling gets so dense that eventually it drops out. It's interacting with the dry air in the mid-levels, and then eventually it plops to the ground. That's usually the process of rain. Sometimes it can spread out, form new storms, but in this fashion, when it happens in such an isolated area, it can crash to the ground, causing winds up to 60 to 125 miles per hour. I don't think we're going to be on the upper end of that, but I've seen as much as 100 miles per hour before. I've seen one of these before blow boats literally out of the water into trees. So again, I don't think you're going to be that extreme, but gusts to about 60 plus aren't out of the realm of possibility. I personally had one of these at my house that took off the top of the tree and it crushed a fence. Oh, no. So that's why I just want everyone to be alert that this is actually one of the higher microburst forecasts that I've seen really so far over the last month or so. So just want everyone to be alert. We got a high pressure system, little ring of fire, classic setup, and then we have that double threat again, the heat advisory until 8 o'clock and then a chance for severe storms. Then we're cooler.
What?
I've never been so excited about 90 degrees, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so 90 is my quote cooler, but at least we're back to normal, more of the lower 90s. Tomorrow I still think feels like the triple digits at times. We still have a chance for a stronger thunderstorm, but at least things are getting a little bit more business as usual. Most 7 days, by the way, for July and August will look like this minus the 97. Usually have the lower 90s with a chance for storms each and every day. So welcome back to the usual summer, but we have one more day to stay weather alert and to stay cool.
Well, you said, last week or whatever, expecting this, that it's that first shock to the system when we have this kind of heat wave, so mid-90s. So, yeah, 90s going to feel fantastic, I would imagine.
Yeah, and it's about perspective. I think it's like same thing during winter. Whenever you have that first cold day, you're like, oh, okay, I can deal with this. Now the first hot one, I'm sorry, you're never gonna get used to it feeling like it was. Like even I know people from Texas, they only can take so much once they're getting into their heat advisory criteria. But yeah, no, I'm not sure if you noticed how muggy it was today. I think today feels worse.
Yeah.
Today feels worse than yesterday. So if you didn't like yesterday,
you're not gonna like today.
Today's worse. And here's the deal. The thunderstorms and clouds could cool us down, but if you get rain, then you have the evaporation from that makes it even steamier. So it might be cooler, less of a heat index, but then I think it feels worse because of the moisture content from that rain. So it's just like, if I were to give my Nick ick, it is today. And this was one of Nick's icks, by the way. So
Wednesday.
You're gonna sweat. no matter what.
You're gonna sweat.
Seriously.
You're gonna sweat.
And that's the problem why we have this heat advisory, is because you get to a certain point that your sweating actually slows down after a while, because it can only do so much because there's so much moisture around you. So, but yeah, no, you're going to sweat today for sure. So,
Tropics are okay?
so yeah, I can bring that up recently.
Oh, okay.
Talk about.
So I know some people are traveling. They got their cruises planned. They're going to the Caribbean, all of that jazz.
All right. Post-tropical Andrea. She didn't even last a day.
Oh.
So
I don't even remember Andrea being mentioned.
No, you wouldn't, because
Okay.
I mentioned it on Monday because I was like, oh, this is a terrible looking storm. I don't even know if this is going to be named. Yep, it hit it for, I think, 12 hours. I don't know the exact timing. It was less than
It
18.
just happened or something when we came on at 12:30.
Okay.
Because Becca came in and was like, this just happened.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And now it's already
Yeah.
Gone.
out the door.
When I got in, it was post-tropical Andrea. So that means likely it was anywhere from 12 to 18 hours that this thing lasts. It was probably one of the ugliest signatures I've ever seen from a tropical system. And no offense, Andrea, you're beautiful inside, but actually no. For the
No,
satellite,
you're
that's the problem. The satellite imagery was not beautiful inside or out.
the
This is
storm.
the only time I'll say that about a woman or anybody. Just letting you know.
Okay.
But yeah, no, this was just not a very good looking storm. Here, I'll show you what it looks like now. Yep, that's it.
Oh.
Yeah, usually you have at least a circle of something, or lose that. Yeah, it's no more. It's just a circulation now in the middle of the Atlantic. We also refer to these as fish storms.
storms, yep.
But if you're wondering who's next, Barry.
Who is up?
Barry.
I hope Barry isn't mean.
Barry doesn't sound mean.
There's just certain ones, and it happened last year. I didn't want Milton to be a big deal, because I've met one Milton in my life, and it was one of the sweetest guys I've
Yeah,
ever
I
met.
know. A very,
Who is
very
a
sweet
mean
Barry.
Milton?
Yeah, no, all berries are the same
All
way.
berries are nice.
I have never met a mean berry.
Right.
All right.
So, not saying that I've met mean Dexters or Aarons. I've actually never met a Dexter before, to be honest with you.
no, I just know the show.
I
Yeah.
know the show as well.
But I always have my ones that I watch the most. I truly think I'm watching out for Imelda the most, because I names are retired more than
yeah.
anything. We've been trending some M names recently, so I got to look out for Melissa. And for the internet's sake, I hope it does not cause a big deal, because Karen.
Karen's involved in
The amount of Karen jokes that are going to come out here, and
Yeah,
if you're not
right.
concerned, pretty much a how do you describe Karen in pop culture nowadays?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Just
pretty
look
much
back.
a woman that complains about things that doesn't really need to be complained about.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
So it's,
the one,
Title.
it's
the-
generic.
and-
now.
yeah, it's very generic, but it's well known for Gen Zers. So I'm trying to keep you woke if you didn't realize that. What was
Try
the
not to feed
like?
the monster.
Yeah, because we learned about kikiing
Yep.
earlier,
Yep.
so I wanted to add on to that. But real quick, back to the main story about today.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like 99, and then it'll feel like 100 to, I think, even up to 108 earlier on the day before we have those storm chances. So it's not
Ew.
often that we have the
108.
double. I know, gross, right?
Oh my goodness, and a steamy 108, not a Arizona desert 108.
No,
too.
no. See that's why everyone from
Not
the
that that's better.
Southwest says, "Oh yeah, no, it's a dry heat." No, you're absolutely right, because yesterday was gross, and I truly think that these values should be higher, because the fact that the dew point is at 76 right now is astronomical. The highest that we had all of last year was 77, so we already have that this morning. Feeling like 99. I don't think I personally can remember seeing a 99 dew point at 9 a.m. in the morning.
Oh, wow.
So today is definitely the worst feeling day. So I just want to kind of drive that point home.
Okay.
And since we're pretty loose here, can I share a text message with you?
Sure.
This I got a kick out of this. I read this earlier. So from Kim, she said, "Morning. JT just woke up and I had WCNC Plus on,
Oh, good.
and he saw Ben and he pointed at the TV and jumped up and down, and then asked." And then Kim asked if he wanted to see Daddy, and he said no, he wanted a different movie.
Wake you.
Because like, I see you enough.
Yeah.
Change the channel.
Right.
He's a big Ben and Larry fan.
Oh, excellent.
So he went to the baseball game where Larry threw out the first pitch for
Yeah.
the Charlotte Knights when Larry was doing his passing the torch on to me.
Mm-hmm.
And he fell in love with Larry. He's known Larry for a while, but he fell in love with
Everybody
Ben.
knows Larry.
Yeah, so
Oh,
every time he sees
great. great.
Ben. He said, "I want to see Ben." So I
Dad.
wanted to share that because I thought
Very
that was really
cute.
funny.
From the mouths of babes.
Yeah.
All right, JT. How cute is that? Speaking of Larry, he was. You're aware of Charlotte Squawks,
Yeah.
the big show. So I was there yesterday, and so was Mr. Larry Sprinkle.
He's everywhere.
Oh
I
my
know.
gosh!
He's everywhere.
In the middle of the show, people. I mean, it was part of the presentation, but people stood up, chanting "Larry, Larry."
Awesome.
Mike Collins brought him up on stage, did a whole, Larry got his flowers, and it was great. And they said, speaking of, with Larry leaving, who's replacing him? Majestic Storm. Put a Majestic's picture up on stage.
Oh, that's funny.
And I thought, well, it's not replacing, but we just needed
Yeah.
to
I
shift
knew it-
along some people.
I knew what they were meaning.
You knew what they
yeah,
were
of
talking
course.
about.
Because Mulcahy isn't anything. It's an Irish name.
Could be a
like
storm.
a sprinkle and a storm we use in everyday vocabulary.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
You
going to be
see
just
where
like, watch
they're
out
going.
for this Mulcahy.
You never
watch
know.
out.
Maybe people
Mulcahy.
say that. I don't know, but
All right, very cute. Thank you, Chris and JT et al.
shout out. Take care. I love being here as always.
We love
See
having
you
you
again
here.
tomorrow.
Bye.
All right, thank you for that info.